Hi everyone, we're Team One. Our idea we came up with, our concept is called Belong. And I'm Sam. I worked with Sabrina, Anders, and Katie. We're a very multidisciplinary team, so it was a great experience working with how much different perspectives we have. And for this design-a-thon, our users we focused on and wanted to design with is the LGBTQIA plus college community, or college students. So within that community, we were asking and hoping to learn how they were seeking mental health and well-being resources at school. And to do that, we started building our journey map as well, where we really wanted to just guide the questions we were coming up with and to then revisit and rebuild our journey map as well. We ended up picking on addressing where students can feel comfortable to connect with other students and university staff as our focus point. Um, of course, we wanted to also understand how we can design with different equity methods and lenses. The main two that we really reflected on was humility and also understanding how the system is designed before attempting to disrupt it. Um, this experience was, it really humbled us in our as researchers and as designers, as we really wanted to embody that notion of designing with versus just designing for or designing an app or something like that. So we really focused on our user interviews, trying to collect survey respondents, and then conducting our usability tests. So the users we wanted to keep in focus throughout the entire process. And then before attempting to build something that changed the way a university or college works, we wanted to understand it first. So we did do our explorations into the institutions, mainly UW as our reference point, but also had a chance to look at other uh, researchers, peer-reviewed research. So that was a great chance to do some literature review as well. And then I'll pass it to Sabrina.
Yeah, and we deployed a survey and collected responses from 5 students from Seattle area colleges, which ranged from like 4-year and 2-year schools, and conducted interviews with 3 additional participants. And from this data, we pulled 3 patterns that we noticed. And the first one was the distrust of academic institutions. So most participants had low trust in school administered resources due to previous experiences of cultural insensitivity and lack of accountability in their interactions with school resources. And another pattern we noticed was that there was a deep sense of trust in their peers. So most participants preferred seeking support from peers or their friends because they felt that they could relate with them more deeply or personally, either on like a level of sharing an identity or just sharing like experiences as students going through very similar challenges. Another pattern was this conflict of time versus value, where most participants were aware that their schools offered mental health and well-being resources, but they found it time consuming having to like navigate that information and then also having to determine whether the resources that they found were a good fit or whether like it was worth their time to invest in further. So from that, we came up with this problem statement. How might we build trust between LGBTIQA plus students and their university to increase their engagement with existing mental health and well-being resources?
And then this is the user journey map that we had visited and built from the experiences we learned from the users themselves. There's a lot on here, but we did focus in on a few of these events to build the demo out and focus on. But we really wanted to practice understanding how the users felt. So from the interviews and the surveys, we always asked about their experience and how they felt about certain interactions. I can highlight one, which is the fourth one, where in this case, the student started feeling uncomfortable, unwelcomed on campus, and started to look for others to relate with. Through this, the idea of the Belong app. We wanted to be able to provide a space where students can search anonymously for resources and also connect with other students while still being anonymous, and then be able to decide when they want to fully connect and share who they are, and other students as well. So it's a two-way street for the students to come together. Yeah.
And then we were able to conduct one usability study with a participant yesterday. And the main task, there were two main tasks we wanted to have our participant walk through. The first one was to connect with the community at the Q Center. And then the second one was to search for a peer-to-peer resource where they were able to talk to other students and get suggestions on a literature class to enroll in. And then this is the visual design language that we set up for the app. So you see the logo Belong, then you see the visual design language underneath, including what the color palette looks like, what the font hierarchy is, and then an icon if you just like to be an anonymous user. And then on the right-hand side is a physical artifact of posters that we would make to put around campus to increase awareness for the Belong app.
So just kind of giving like a brief overview of like what the app would look like in motion. On the left, we just have our onboarding. So what it would give users an opportunity to do is to go into the application, decide how essentially how they want to interact with it. If it just wants to be like this more like experience where they just go through it one time, they don't have to commit a whole lot of time into it, and they could stay anonymous. If they want to create their own profile, that's something that they can do if they feel like they're going to be on there often, either contributing or interacting regularly with like an advisor or counselor or other students. And then on the right, we have the experience that we had for our usability study, where a student was going in, and after they had joined an upcoming event for other students within the Q Center LGBTQIA+ community, to understand a bit more about their academic experiences, interactions with professors, instructors, and course content. So some of the feedback that we got initially, like having a big empty space. So what we want to do is create a space that was a little bit more inviting and welcoming once the user logged into their different types of event rooms or other chats with allies or any other kind of advisor or professional counselor, things like that. And some just some of the basic what things meant. So we had these icons at the very bottom, but as we went through, people didn't know what the microphone was, or they had an idea of what the chat was, but we still wanted to add labels to give them more of an idea. And then really making sure that people knew what was going on with different participants. So you have the moderator, so they have their indicators, there's their moderator, and then other people, when they are muted, have that indicator as well. And then some of the things that people enjoy, or that our participant enjoyed doing usability, was the idea that they can go into these rooms anonymously if it's something where they don't feel like they want to commit a whole bunch of time, or any other reason why they don't want to share their identity. They can just go into it and just ask a quick question and just have that experience. But then there's going to be others who want to go in and really make sure they're login, they're regular users again. And then in the chat that we created, the narrative that we had was someone who wanted to ask a question about literature course, and someone was able to put it into the perspective of the community, and how this class maybe identifies like authors, or that the instructor was very supportive and created a really safe space in the classroom for them to really express themselves and share their experiences. And thank you.